It's like a deposition. It's like the grand jury.
I like your shirt.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. My daughter chose it, so I was like, I'll wear it.
Are those penguins? No,
I think they're toucans, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the atmosphere in like the writer's room like with a show like this? Do you have to keep it light because the subject matter is so dark?
You know, it kind of, most writers' rooms I've been in, whatever sort of show it is, I mean, in the end it's about the personalities in there, and we've got a great group, but it's actually surprisingly light. I mean, I think there's a lot of talk about character and, you know, dark emotions, but also we're all horror geeks as well in there, and we're throwing a lot of like horror fun around, a lot of film references, and it's a pretty lively room. I don't think, you know, it's not a dark, depressing place. We go in there and have a lot of fun. So.
Where do you usually come up with your ideas for some of this stuff? Like you got a human totem pole, a human mural. I mean, where does that come from? The inspiration?
Lots of different places. I mean, I think, you know, because there's a bunch of us in there, so it's like different people come up with different things. But some of it's like Tree Man was. There's a painting that Brian had seen in a gallery of sort of organs as plants, and it started to spun out of that. And the totem pole came out of a story we wanted to tell. I can't remember exactly how it worked, but it came out of a story we wanted to tell, and we just couldn't find the image for it. And I sort of went off, I think it was me or it may have been someone else, and then we just read some stuff on, you know, totem poles. It was about a man who wanted to display his work and, you know, what totem poles meant, and you know, and the idea of shame poles, and so we go to mythology, a lot of riffing off movie references. You know, I've always wanted to do a version of that thing in paintings, and then, you know, some real life stuff. I mean, usually the craziest ones where we're like, that would never happen, no way. Someone will go online and go, yeah, you know, some guy actually did this in Austria or, you know, or Brazil or somewhere. So it's and it's a room full of writers. They just make, you know, they sit there and sort of try and outdo each other making up the craziest stuff. So
you talk about Tree Man in the writer's room when you come up with stuff like this. How much research do you have to do to medically justify what has been done to the corpses, whether there's a beehive in the head or the organs growing?
We do as much as we can and try and keep it within the realms of possibility. But I think with Hannibal, like, I think emotionally the show is always very real and true, and we're very real to the effects of violence and working around violence with people. But I also think there is a heightened, fantastical element to the show. So some of those things, you know, would bees really hive in some guy's head? I don't know, but it was really cool.
Yes, it was.
And we sort of loved the image, and in the end, they've got to hive somewhere, and you know, and there were things about body temperature and things where it was kind of feasible, but you know, it's pretty unlikely. So I think we try and keep it. We don't ever want the audience to switch on and go, oh, that's impossible. But the truth is, some of these tableaus would take about a month. Hannibal would need like a month to actually, you know, how long did it take to turn Beverly into those slices in glass?
Yeah,
a while. So there is a leap of faith in terms of
suspension of disbelief.
Indeed, yeah. You know, and I think there's a line, you know, Gideon has in one of the episodes when he says, "Oh, Hannibal is smoke," and there's certainly an element of that in the show, which I think also makes the show. It makes the show different to a lot of other Catch the Killer shows, and I also think it gives us license for the level of horror and things that are in those tableaus, because it's not just, you know, we're not just seeing someone get stabbed 20 times, which I think is tough. They've been turned into a tree, which is actually, an audience can remove themselves from it and sort of enjoy the beauty of it, rather than feeling like, you know, that could happen to me. So.
Cool.
How much notice do you have to give the production or the set design to make these things?
Usually, well, at the beginning of the season, lots, and then as we get going, they get less and less, and they get more and more annoyed with us. But generally, we're storylining quite a way ahead. So, and by the time, you know, obviously the script has gone through numerous drafts, so they get outlines and they get first drafts, and we will be saying, look, it's like this. So they normally get a pretty good heads up, but it's still, but also they get a heads up from us, but they're making the episode. They're also making all the other episodes, so
'Cause it's so
they
ornate.
work crazy.
I can't imagine having
Some
to
of those
rush.
things, that team are amazing, and the prosthetics team and the production design team are pretty amazing. I like some of those things that are done on 3 and 4 days notice. Well, they're not done on 3 or 4 days notice, but they do them 3 or 4 days before we shoot it because they were on the episode before. And they're a lot of sleepless nights, and they're pretty. They're pretty great, and a lot of recycling bodies, the same bodies and doing different things to them. So,
Has it been an idea that's been too elaborate that you guys have put out there that you guys tried to say, you can't pull this one together? Or it's too far?
I don't know about. Usually, what pulls something is from the character point of view. We're just like, okay, but why has the guy done that? Like in the end, there's always an emotional, psychological reason that they're serving. And sometimes we'll come up with something and then go, why is he doing that though? And that's usually the thing. Well, he's a guy who's this and he has this, and if what you have to always think of is the scene when Will or whoever finally explains what the guy's psychology, which is, and if it starts getting 4 pages long because the crime is so, then that's usually a good reason. But yeah, we've never really done anything just because the scene would be. I mean, I think I think if we'd ever been too worried about that, then the human neural of the eye would have been probably the point at which we went, how many people? The production, yeah. The bird in the first that one was
Amazing.
possibly my favourite line of the second season actually was, Peter is your social worker inside that horse.
Yeah.
You don't get to write those lines on many of the shows. That's the fun. And again, it's things like that where you go, how dark does it get in the writers' room? Well, actually, someone then pitches that, and we're all in laughter for 15 minutes. So. Anyway, great. Ready to go? Okay.
Thank you for
Thanks a lot,
joining
guys.
us.
Thank you.